Basketball fans, welcome back. So in this game, I'll be talking about Ahli Tripoli versus MBB. So this is the second last game. This game tipped off yesterday, and the last game for MBB and Ahli Tripoli. And Ahli Tripoli still off their 6-0 unbeaten record in the BAL Season 5 Nile Conference, and they are joining the Al Ittihad team as the only teams in BAL Season 5 in the conference games to go 6-0 in their conference games. So even despite the comeback for MBB, they still could not make it into the third place spot, and the third place spot was taken over by FS Rabat. And FS Rabat proved to have the better point differential. So before we get started, like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, get notified, because I'm going to be releasing a ton of content of this nature. And stay tuned for more, because gearing up towards the BAL playoffs, there's a lot of things to say and a lot of things to mention. So that out of the way, let's just get into it. So Al Tripoli finished off with a 6-0 record. See, this is something that I must say I expected it because of the blow that was setting in against MBB. So MBB were down bad in this one, and they got beat by a lot of points. And the final score was 102-73. So I was not holding my breath in MBB being a threat, because the major threat that the Al Tripoli had was when they played against the APR game. That game finished 106-102, and in this one they are determined to close it out and finish it once and for all. So we had a couple of players putting up bad performances, especially Peter Prinsloo for MBB. He was bad. Jovan Moring, he was bad as well. And the only guy that tried his level best was Stefan Leonard Jr. The man is a swingman. He has been balling out, especially on my Nairobi Thunder, man. When he played the Nairobi Thunder twice, I just knew that there were a couple of dunks that were going to be thrown down. But hey, I mean, MBB still, even despite that comeback that they had, finishing off with a 2-4 record, still couldn't be able to make it and even finish off, as the third place team. So Al Tripoli, Jalen Adams was the star of the evening because he had 28 points. That's a game high. And Asim Murray, he had 18, and John Jackie's Boise 17. So in the previous game, John Jackie's Boise, he had 15, and this one he only had 17. So that 25 points per game scoring went down a bit in the final two games. But the blowout had already set in for Al Tripoli, so they didn't have to do too much, because even when it came statistically, they shot 50% from the field, 55% on 2-point field goals, and 44% from downtown. There was 17 of 38. So looking at how they played, that was the best. And this game, there wasn't a lot of fouling like that, because the game was already decided in the second half. And it was like a no contest at this point, because the way the Al Ittihad were determined to go ahead and take this game, it was like they were playing to get their final playoff spot, and they already clinched when they went 4-0, and they were the first team to clinch it in the Nile Conference. So the urgency and the zeal to go 6-0 was still alive, and they made quick work of MBB. I don't think this matchup was that. It wasn't that competitive because of out of the gate the way the team started, because they was basically on hunt mode when they already there and they already qualified. So even if they drop this game, they would still have made it. But that unbeaten, that is what they were looking for. And they led in rebounds, assists, steals. They had 39 rebounds on rebounding MBB, 26 assists for Al Ittihad, and 16 steals. So this is the most steals I've seen so far, and both teams are tied in 2 blocks. So Tefalena Jr., he didn't block shots like that, because the elite offense being displayed by Al Tripoli was second to none in the whole Nile Conference. And that's the reason as to why they went 6-0. And when it came even to rebounds, we had Asim Murray, he had 10 boards, Mohamed Sadi, 6 boards, and Dion Thompson, 6 boards. So Mohamed Sadi has been balling out very well. He's been one of the most consistent and reliable options for Al Tripoli, and he is also the captain. So he has been great. And Tefalena Jr., even after leading in points, he was also leading in rebounds, and he finished with a strong double-double of 18 and 11 boards. Peter Prinsloo was a non-factor and non-existent. I'm not sure, after he beat the Thunder by 30 points, the man just disappeared and he just forgot how to play basketball. Jovan Moring, He had 5 assists, and he was tied with Nassim Badruch for Al Ahly Tripoli with 5 assists as well. So this game was there was the most uncompetitive games. It gave me flashbacks on what we saw the Thunder team go through, and especially in the first 2 games that the Thunder played, similar vibes because MBB had no abilities and they had no shot in doing anything because every single time Al Ahly Tripoli were just having their way in there. Mohamed Sadi, he continued. He was 2 of 4 from downtown in this one. And in the previous game, when he played against APR, he was 5 of 6. So it was very good. But the guy that was the star of the evening when he came to shooting the 3 ball was Jalen Adams. So Jalen Adams, he was 6 of 9 from downtown, followed by John Jackie's Boise. There was a stretch in which John Jackie's Boise, he was just hitting threes, and he hit like 3 straight trays at like multiple possessions, and that is something that the MBB team couldn't guard because of how big and how deep the roster is for the Al Ahly Tripoli, and it proved to be too much for MBB. And MBB, they're a team on a comeback trail, and it was difficult for them to be able to pose any resistance whatsoever. And I was very much excited to see this pan out this way because all signs pointed to Al Tripoli going ahead and going undefeated, and I didn't think there was anything that was gonna stop that at all. And the main guy, Jalen Adams, in 32 minutes of play, he had 28 points. He was 9 of 15, four assists, 2 rebounds, 1 steal in there. Then we had John Jackie's Boise with his 17 points. He was 6 of 12, 50% shooting, and 4 of 6 from downtown. He was 1 of 1 from the line. Then as Asimari, he had 18 points. He was 9 of 13. One of the underrated and low-key efficient pieces on the Al Ahly Tripoli, while the difference at the end of the day. So when it came to MBB, Robinson Opong, he was a non-factor. He only had 3 points. He's 1 of 5. I mean, he basically disappeared. And even the guys that were supposed to dominate, especially Peter Prinsloo, and with his 3-point shooting prowess and his ability to be able to place the floor and be able to grab them second chance points, and his footwork was non-existent, and they're not able to do anything in this one. And the only guy who was trying to hold this team over water was Tefalena Jr. And the most interesting thing is he never went to the free throw line in this game. And he subsequently wasn't able to get his points like that because in the previous game he played against the Thunder, he scored 39 and he was 12 of 16 from the line. But in this one, he didn't even make it to the line because Al Ahly Tripoli made sure not to allow this guy to be able to get to the line like that. So yeah, I mean, the MBB team were down bad in this one, and had they had a better performance or had they scored at least 100, they would have been placed as the better third place team there because they are on that path and they are almost there, reaching FS Darabat, because FS Darabat were just phantom team that already played in the Kalari Conference and maybe on the Nile Conference, so they were waiting on to see who's going to be the best third place team, and the point differential checked in. So yeah, I mean, MBB just didn't have this game at all. They trailed. They trailed big. There was no such statistical advantage, especially when it came to offense. There was nothing there because the Al Ahly Tripoli not only led in the game the way they were dominating them, they also led in rebounds, assists, steals, points from turnovers, fast break points, and bench points. And the bench points was much. It was sad because you could see in bench points, Al Ahly Tripoli had 49 bench points. So you could see there was so much coming off the bench, and this was just adding on to the blowout that was there. So even the game, there was little to nothing. There was no single thing that MBB could do to be able to win this game, and they just lay down and took it. And in the last and final game, that's when we saw the team that already clinched. So it is what it is. So this was very great. This was one of the better teams that I've been following in the Nile Conference, Al Ahly Tripoli, and I'll be keen to see what they're going to do in the playoffs because we have seen unbeaten teams choke in the playoffs. We saw what Petro de Luanda did in BAL season 3 when they went ahead and won 5 straight, but they lost in the semis. So we're going to see what's going to happen. So I mean, Al Tripoli, North African matchups have been great. The last Libyan team that made it in BAL season 4 made it all the way to the BAL finals. So is this Al Tripoli? Will they be able to right the wrongs of the Al Ahli Benghazi team? Because the way they have come in, they are much stronger and they are fit to go in and even challenge even for the title at this point. Because when I started looking at BAL season 5, I felt like Al Ittihad was strong, very strong, but now there's another guy who has entered, and the name of Al Ahli Tripoli. I mean, Egypt versus Libya, they are just great matchups. But anyway, it is what it is. So do drop me your comments down in the comment section down below. I mean, this has been one hell of a ride. I've enjoyed every single game, and in this game, I mean, MBB just did not have any shot at it. And this might have been that game that if they played well, they would have been able to sneak in to the BAL playoffs. And right now, as we speak, they are not there, even despite their strong comeback. Because I've seen what the MBB have done, because they're able to beat Minority Thunder by 1 point, and they're able to beat the APR team by 6 points. And in this one, you could see they're on that comeback trail, but they got stopped by the Nairobi Thunder. They lost. They lost that. They lost the second last game, 85-76, and it was a game that the Thunder needed to win, and MBB. It came at the expense of MBB, and MBB, even with the loss that they had from the Thunder, they kind of just shut down, and there was a high likelihood that they might have stole one game because there was no urgency coming from the Al Ahli Tripoli. And Al Ahli Tripoli, they were insistent on finishing unbeaten. And the MBB will have taken advantage of that to be able to sneak into the playoffs, because the playoffs will be in Pretoria, and MBB are a South African team. So it is sad to see that this team cannot be able to represent their home fans in the BAL playoffs, and it's hosted there. So this is the second straight year we are seeing a team that the playoffs and finals will be held will not be attending. Last year we saw APR. APR were in the Sahara Conference, and the BAL playoffs and finals were in Rwanda, and there was that likelihood that if APR played very well in the Sahara Conference and finished top 3, they will have been able to grab the best third place spot, or even number 2, to be able to get in. But they finished number 4th, and they couldn't even be able to represent for their home fans. And that's the similar thing that we have seen with MBB. MBB had a very poor start to the competition. They had some bit of redemption. They finished their 2-4 record. Even despite the winning record, they had a very poor point differential, so they still couldn't be able to make it. And right now, with the playoffs and finals heading to Pretoria, they can't even go back and defend home courts in there, even despite their efforts. So, I mean, APR couldn't even make it to the playoffs last year, but in this one, they've been able to turn the tides on that one, and they finished number 2. And it's unfortunate that there was no third place team that came from the Nile Conference, and the best third place team was the FS Rabat all along. And there was that suspicion, and there's that feeling I had, because the tug of wars between the Nairobi Thunder MBB and FS Rabat when we reached the halfway point. But it looked like the MBB team would have been able to take it. But because of their poor point differential when it came to even the games that they won, they still could not be able to get in even through the points that they scored and the points that they conceded. So it is what it is. So share, subscribe to the channel. I'll come back with a video talking about the Nairobi Thunder versus APR matchup, which is the last and final game. And I must say that was the most heartbreaking game, and I'll go ahead and explain to you why in great length. So I'm out. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out.